Hello everyone, it's me Uncle John. Today I am going to read Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, Chapter 6, The Journey from Platform 9 and 3/4, page 110 to 112. Close as Scabbers. No, I don't believe it. He's gone back to sleep. And so he had. You have met Malfoy before. Harry explained about the meeting in Diagon Alley. I have heard of his family, said Ron darkly. They were some of the first to come back to our side after who disappeared. Said they had been bewitched. My dad doesn't believe it. He says Malfoy's father didn't need an excuse to go over to the dark side. He turned to Hermione. Can we help you with something? You better hurry up and put your robes on. I have just been up to the front to ask the conductor, and he says, you're nearly there. You haven't been fighting, have you? You'll be in trouble before we even get there. Scabbers has been fighting, not us, said Ron, scowling at her. Would you mind leaving while we change? All right. I only came in here because people outside are behaving very childishly, racing up and down the corridors, said Hermione in a sniffy voice. You've got dirt on your nose, by the way. Did you know? Ron glared at her as she left. Harry peered out of the window. It was getting dark. He could see mountains and forests under a deep purple sky. The train seemed to be slowing down. He and Ron took off the jackets and pulled on the long black robes. Ron's were a bit short for him, and you could see his sneakers underneath them. A voice echoed through the train. We will be reaching Hogwarts in 5 minutes' time. Please leave your luggage on the train. It'll be taken to the school separately. Harry's stomach lurched with nerves and Ron. He looked pale under his freckles. They crammed their pockets with the last of the sweets and joined the crowd thronging the corridor. The train slowed right down and finally stopped. People pushed their way toward the door and out onto a tiny dark platform. Harry shivered in the cold night air. Then a lamp came bobbing over the heads of the students, and Harry heard a familiar voice. The first years over here. All right there, Harry. Hagrid's big, hairy face beamed over the sea of heads. Come on, follow me. Any more first years? Mind your step now. The first years follow me. Slipping and stumbling, they followed Hagrid down what seemed to be a steep, narrow path. It was so dark on either side of them that Harry thought there must be thick trees there. Nobody spoke much. Neville, the boy who kept losing his toe, snipped once or twice. You all get your first sight of Hogwarts in a sec. Hagrid called over his shoulder. Just round this bend here. There was a loud ooh. The narrow path had opened suddenly onto the edge of a great black lake that perched atop a high mountain on the other side. Its windows sparkling in the starry sky was a vast castle with many turrets and towers. No more, and fall to a boat. Hagrid called, pointing to the fleet of little boats sitting in the water by the shore. Harry and Ron were followed into the boat by Neville and Hermione. Everyone in, shouted Hagrid, who had a boat to himself. Right then, forward! And the fleet of little boats moved off all at once, gliding across the lake, which was as smooth as glass. Everyone was silent, staring up at the great castle overhead. It towered over them as they sailed nearer and nearer to the cliff on which it stood. Heads down, yelled Hagrid, As the first boat reached the cliff, they all bent their heads, and the little boats carried them through a curtain of ivy that hid a wide opening in the cliff face. They were carried along a dark tunnel, which seemed to be taking them right underneath the castle, until they reached a kind of underground harbor, where they clambered out onto rocks and pebbles. "Oh, you there? Is this your Toad?" said Hagrid, who was checking the boats as people climbed out of them. "Trevor!" cried Neville blissfully, holding out his hand. They clambered up a passageway in the rock after Hagrid's lamp. Coming out at last onto smooth, damp grass right in the shadow of the castle, they walked up a flight of stone steps and crowded around the huge oak front door. "Everyone here? You there? Still gotcha, Toad?" Hagrid raised a gigantic fist and knocked 3 times on the castle door. The end.